Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Nick from ForexNoobs.com with the daily analysis. Today is Tuesday, the 7th of January 2020, and the time is 10:01 here in the UK. You're looking at a AUD CAD daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups across all these pairs listed to the right here. So let's get started. Well, first things first. AUD CAD, we're looking on Sunday for a potential long if it stalled. It clearly has not stalled. It's continuing to move down. It's quite a strong move down, actually. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, see what happens when it hits the next support area. Actually, I'll just keep it orange. I may as well, because it's pushing to that support area really quickly. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, see what happens. Oh, it's been a while since we've done like a proper full-on analysis. I forgot one of the first steps, which is looking at the news. So before we continue with looking at the pairs, let's take a quick look at the news. All right, so we really don't have anything. I mean, obviously we have the PMI, but that usually doesn't impact the market unless it's dropping below 50, or if it's already below 50 and moving above 50. This is far above 50 right now, so yeah, all we really have this week that's important is the non-farm payrolls. So yeah, we'll just look at that later in the week in the upcoming analysis sessions. We'll look at the non-farm payrolls. What's important is today there's nothing really upcoming in terms of news that will have a huge impact on the market. I mean, obviously the PMI can have an impact on the market, but I just don't think it's highly likely. And building approvals, they could have an impact on the market, but again, I just don't think it's highly likely. You never know. Sometimes things come in way off consensus, and they will have an impact on the market. Like the building approvals, I'm pretty sure caused a big move on AUD last month because they were pretty far off consensus. But yeah, it's generally not something we worry too much about. Right, so moving back to the analysis, AUDJPY, we're just watching this for a long-term trade, so we'll see how that plays out. AUD New Zealand has broken through support. A lot of these, AUD has just broken through support on most pairs. So actually, these are no longer potential setups here. Getting a turnaround on Euro CHF. There was a potential long here. I'm just really not interested in entering this one. It's just too messy. I marked it for those of you who might want to enter it as a potential long. The entry is about the trigger, actually. Something like this. I just don't like the setup because it's really, really messy. And I'm not convinced that it will have the strength to get to this target quickly or efficiently. I think if it ever gets there, it's just going to be going sideways for ages. So I'm just not. It is technically speaking, a setup, but it's not something that I am going to enter myself. Euro NOK, we're still waiting for a turnaround here. It's not happening yet, but I'm still watching this one. I'll explain that in more detail after the analysis. New Zealand CAD, this has continued to move down, so that's off the table. Take a closer look at these two when we wrap up the analysis. All right, let's look for some new setups. AUD has dropped into support. It looks like it's probably going to keep pushing straight through it, but it's worth keeping an eye on it in case it doesn't and it starts stalling. If it starts stalling, there is potential for a long there. Now, I'm not trading CHF-JPY. A potential short here, we'll look at it in the wrap up. I'll just mark them for now, and then in the wrap up of the analysis, I'll go into some details. Potential short possibly on USDJPY. Again, once we do the wrap up, I'll go into more details. Right, so let's take a look at what we have for today, and I'll explain each potential setup. First of all, we've got AUD-CHF. Now, AUD-CHF, I'm not saying that there's going to be a long trade here. I'm saying that if price stalls here, there is potential for a long trade. Right now, it looks like it's moving down quite strongly, so it could just break straight through here and nothing is going to happen. But also, there is potential that it stalls out here. We're already seeing signs of it starting to slow down a little bit as it's approaching this area. You see these big wicks here on the 4 hour. It's a sign that price is starting to get undecided. Now, it could break straight through, but it could stall out here. And if it does stall out, then there's potential for a long trade. So I'm just going to keep an eye on this and see if it stalls out. AUD CAD, this one's dropping quite fast into support. If it continues to fall into support, I'll be looking for a long from this support area if it stalls, but it's not there yet, so let's not worry too much about that one. EURJPY, this is just a long-term thing, a swing trade potential. It's probably going to take several days to develop, maybe even a week. So we'll discuss that one at some other point. EURJPY and USDJPY are giving us similar setups. So we had a strong move back to resistance, and now we're seeing price stalling out on resistance. There's potential for a short trade here on both EURJPY and USDJPY. What we're looking for is the daily candle to close with some pretty solid indecision. So this could trigger tomorrow, depending on how today's candle closes. So we just have to be a little patient, wait for today's candle to close, and we could get a potential short here on EURJPY and USDJPY. It could be both, or it could be one of them. It really just depends. Euro CHF. Now this is the one I was talking about. There's a potential long that's about to trigger. I just personally am not that interested in this trade. Euro NOK, we're seeing a lot of indecision here on support. Now this is a bit of a weird trade, but if you go up to, for example, the 3-day chart, you'll see the indecision much more clearly. So what we're looking for here is just a potential long from this support area. Problem is, it just keeps moving sideways on it instead of picking a direction. So if it keeps doing this for too much longer, then I'll lose interest in this setup. But we're just looking for a potential long here. Just something like this. Yeah, but the risk to reward ratio is no longer that good because of the spikes down. But anyway, we'll just keep an eye on it, see what happens there. USDJPY, like I said, same as EURJPY. Then we've got silver. Silver's quite interesting. It's pushed up to resistance, stalling out heavily on resistance. So there's potential for a short here, but trading gold and silver is really tricky, and I would only do it if you're an experienced trader. I wouldn't just blindly jump into these because they're extremely, extremely tricky. Risk to reward ratio is not great if you were to enter this trade. So probably have to enter on a retrace. And gold is just completely off the table at this point. Honestly, I think silver might not give us a good entry. Going to keep an eye on silver for potential short, but I won't be trading it today. So we'll look back in on this one tomorrow and just see how things have developed. Just going to have a quick scan of the charts again. CHF-JPY has a similar setup to EURJPY and USDJPY. I'm just not a huge fan of this pair, and I'd rather take the trade on EURJPY or USDJPY than taking it on CHF-JPY because it's essentially the same setup. Did kind of miss Euro New Zealand here. Yeah. Euro New Zealand is in a pretty strong downtrend. It's hit resistance and it looks like it might push up, but it also has a chance of stalling out on this resistance area. Yesterday's candle already showed signs of stalling. Today's candle's made a new high, which is a bad sign if you're looking for stalling. But you never really know. It could stall out here. The new high is minimal right now. Unless it starts pushing higher soon, it could stall out here, and that would give us a potential short continuation trade from this resistance area. Continuation in line with this bearish trend. So this is actually pretty decent, worth keeping an eye on. And check again in case there's things I missed. And no, I think that's it, guys. So that wraps it up for the analysis, guys. Are there any questions? All right, it doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to wrap this analysis up. Thank you guys for attending. This is the first normal analysis session of the year. So it feels a bit weird, actually, getting back into it. I know we did an analysis session on Sunday, but that was like a kind of like a half start of the year webinar, half analysis. It wasn't just a normal run-of-the-mill analysis session. So we'll be doing another analysis tomorrow at 10 and then Wednesday at 10. Next week, I think we'll be doing Monday at 4, Tuesday at 4, Wednesday at 4. Going to switch them up throughout the year, do some 4 p.m. ones, some 10 a.m. ones, and some other times. That way, everyone has a chance to attend live. So yeah, let's wrap this one up. Thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you for tomorrow's analysis, which is going to be, like I said, at 10 a.m. Thanks, and bye, guys.